It rained all day today, and this is probably the most quarantine-y day that I've felt since this whole shelter-in-place thing started a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's been a sweatpants day. I think this puzzle may be like really easy.
It's really fun because it builds confidence.
That last puzzle that we didn't do another puzzle for like 2 months.
Yeah,
it's so hard.
Puzzled out.
We're gonna finish this one tonight.
Good.
So we actually have a couple of cool nights. Not super cold. It's actually not gonna be freezing, but it is gonna be fairly close. And so we're taking probably the last opportunity of the season to have a fire going in the fireplace. And honestly, just making the best out of the current circumstances that are requiring us to stay at home.
There's a lot of negative that people are focusing on, and you know, we want to make sure that we're not like being disrespectful to people who are going through a lot. But I also want to say, for those of us who are also just trying to find the good, like, you don't have to feel guilty that your kids are home and you're getting to spend time with them. Like, there are some really good things going on.
Isn't it lovely? We thought we had lost a piece, but it was just laying on top of the puzzle. So we had one sad moment where we were bummed, but then we found it. Anytime I show puzzles that we do on here on Instagram, people always say, where do you get your puzzles? Because I've found some really cute ones, but I actually buy them at a local shop. I don't even know what it's called. For those of you who are local, it's in Soma, like right next to Loblolly. And they have just like super cute stuff and like collectibles and kitschy kind of stuff and a lot of vintage things, and they sell vinyl and all that, and they always have really cute puzzles. And so that's usually where I pick them up. When I take my kids for ice cream, I'll run in there and grab a puzzle. This one is Mud Puppy brand if you're wanting to like try to find it online. I don't know, I've never bought them online. This was actually like a super easy puzzle. This only took us a couple of hours. It's 500 pieces, but it was really simple. But this is our next one that we're gonna do. And Luke and Cindy from My Gardener actually sent me this. And it's 1,000 pieces, and yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot harder than these butterflies, but we were wanting to just do something pretty easy last night. And this one is New York Puzzle Company, which I've done multiple puzzles from New York Puzzle Company, and I'm sure they sell them online as well, and they're really good. They're really just like, the pieces fit together well. It's really frustrating trying to do a puzzle and it like doesn't go together well. That's annoying. But every time I post a puzzle that we're working on, like I'll put it on my Instagram story, and you guys start sending me photos of the puzzles that you're working on, or you'll tag me in Facebook, and I love that because actually I really love puzzles. It's just like a super fun thing to do. I love anything that like therapeutically keeps your hands busy but allows your mind to wander. That's like my favorite task. It's probably why I'm a gardener. Malia's room is pretty void. Of course, I started all my seeds down here and had intentions of clearing out for her to come for spring break. But that's not happening now due to all of the measures being put in place because of coronavirus. So that's very, very disappointing for us. We're really sad. We do understand though, her family, her mother and stepfather are military, and so like they were actually the first ones to get orders that they couldn't travel out of state lines, and so we really get that. And of course things develop beyond that afterward, which is sad, but it's also why this room is still taken over by my seed stuff. So I'm actually getting my stuff together to start some microgreens. Now I have these small microgreens trays from the Bootstrap Farmer, which I use for this. And I'm doing 2 different kinds today. I've got to go get the bottom trays out of my greenhouse. Now I'm trying this. This is a product that I got a sample of a while ago called Veg Bed, and it's like bamboo microgreen fabric. Now, from what I understand with this, you have to be a little bit more vigilant to make sure it doesn't dry out. Now, the first time that I tried to use this, I did accidentally let it dry out. That was probably user error. I have a tendency to be a little neglectful of things sometimes, especially if it's not in my normal routine. But I'm gonna put a reminder on my phone to make sure I come down here and water. And in this tray, I'm actually just gonna use some Pro Mix, like starting mix, to do my microgreens in. But let's go get the bottom trays out of the greenhouse. Check out the garden. My garden is such a mess, but it will be glorious before too long. And this room is a mess as well. Now obviously my bottom trays are in use. They have all my plants in them. And the reason why I make sure that I put my plants in bottom trays is because it's getting really warm right now during the day, during a lot of days. And when it is kind of warmish outside, if it's sunny, it's really hot in here. And so I really try to keep my plants in bottom trays because they'll dry out really fast. They're big, they're using a lot of water, and the bottom trays just really help that stay okay. Okay, so I've got one tray here I moved the stuff out of because there wasn't much in it. Got one down here I can steal from this tray because there's nothing planted in it. So I'm in the middle of that weird little window where all my stuff is in use, and so I'm just constantly shuffling things around, shuffling for space and open trays and all of that, and it's just such a short window that I just make it work, because in just a couple of weeks I'm gonna be stacking up all the things that I'm not using. And this is the only time of year where this happens, where I don't quite have enough of everything. And what I've found is that if you keep buying more to have, you know, enough stuff that you don't have to shuffle, you'll just fill that stuff up too. Like, you never reach the point where you're like, okay, I'm good, I have enough things, I don't need any more trays and starting area, because essentially you'll just end up starting more stuff. Like, I genuinely remember in the fall starting one row of fall things and thinking, I've got so much space, and now I don't even have a place to sit. I also come by my nickname, Messy Jessie, honestly. My mother always called me that. I tell her that she made me what I am. So I rinse these off good in the greenhouse, but I'm actually gonna go in my house and wash them off in the utility sink with some soap. Because when you're doing microgreens, you just wanna make sure everything's really clean. All right, so I have both of my trays ready for seeds. I am not doing like a super extensive how-to on this today. This is me just vlogging what I'm doing today. However, once these are grown up, which will only take like a week or so, I think between like 7 and 10 days is usually whenever they're ready to start being harvested. And I will do an extensive like how to grow microgreens video once I have the before and after to show. I would really like to develop an opinion about using this soilless seed starting mix versus the bamboo mats, and just kind of be able to give pros and cons of both. But if you are right now trying to figure out how to grow microgreens, I learned from Mike Dixon, the Fit Farmer. He's actually the one who gave me my first set of trays from the Bootstrap Farmer and taught me how to do microgreens whenever I met him a couple years ago at Baker Creek's Seed Expo. So I'll link his like how-to video down below, and I'm gonna show you what I'm doing today, but I'll give you more direction once I can make a better video. So I've got this spray bottle of just plain water, well, filtered water. I've heard that it's best to do this with filtered water. I do take the stance in gardening that, like, don't let best deter you from good. Like, if you can't get filtered water, especially right now, if you're not in a place where you can, because I know we don't have everything that we usually have available to us right now. And microgreens is a great way to grow some food quickly at your house. So if all you have is water from your sink, don't let that make you think that you can't do this. I do have a water filter though, so I'm able to use. Just poured out a lot of seeds. Okay, so I have these huge bags of seeds from Haas Tools. These are where it's at for growing microgreens because you can get a lot at once. But obviously, this is for when you know you're gonna wanna grow microgreens. So I've got the Helios Golden Radish and Southern Giant Curled Mustard. Both of these are gonna be, they're gonna have a little bit of a kick to them, these microgreens. because radish and mustard are both on the spicy side. But I like that. We're gonna use these. We use microgreens mixed into salad to give it a little bit more flavor, and on things like tacos. So we like things that are gonna be just a little bit spicy. Another microgreen that I really like to grow is kale, and also basil. Those are way mild. Those don't pack the punch that some things like radishes and mustards will. So I'm just wetting this down. I'm gonna wet the mat down and then also wet the soil down. And this is how I'm gonna water these, is with this spray bottle, because that's gonna keep my seeds in place. We don't want these sopping wet, and that's the point of these trays, is that I can water, and this bottom tray is gonna catch it, make sure I'm not getting water everywhere, but this top tray is gonna keep this from like sitting in standing water, because we don't want that. Is anyone else just like a total teacher by nature? Like, I'm sitting here saying, I'm not gonna do an extensive how-to video. Let me explain what I'm doing thoroughly now. I just can't help myself. Kind of hard to see on the Pro Mix how many seeds I've got here, but you'll be able to tell on this. The thing I did notice about using this veg bed stuff last time is that the seeds tend to congregate in the grooves from the tray, which is not that big of a deal. So now I'm actually gonna stack these trays on top of one another. This one on the radishes, and then I've got just an extra one of these things. I'm gonna put it on top of here, which is essentially mimicking these things being planted, since they're just on the surface. And the light's not necessary right now, because neither one of these things need light to germinate. What I'm going to do though is leave this here for convenience sake, because I like to make things easier on myself, so that I will follow through with them. And I'm gonna keep a close eye on this, probably checking on it like every day to twice a day, making sure that this doesn't dry out, because we really want to keep this moist. And then as soon as those things start germinating and coming out, I will unstack the trays. I'll show you guys all of that later in an actual how-to video. The thing about growing microgreens is that they grow really fast. And there are a lot of people out there that share business models of growing microgreens to sell, and it can be a large financial supplement to people who are trying to make money off a farm. I've never grown them to sell. I haven't grown just a whole lot of them. And that's usually just because I'll have enough green type things coming in from outside that we just eat that. However, I would really like to stay on top of growing them, because they are such a nutrition boost. They really are. And currently, we're really trying to keep people that we're very close to in mind as far as food production during this difficult time. And it's just a way for us to be able to be a blessing to our families, namely like our parents and siblings and all of that. So that's really kind of what we're doing. And for me, microgreens is something that I know that I can create a lot of quickly without a lot of effort or space involved. I've already got the grow shelf set up. And so I'm gonna continue to do them for that reason. They're also really, really delicious. So thank you for hanging out with me today, and last night, technically. I really do enjoy getting to share our lives with you. I bless you. Until next time.